Franchise quarterbacks are the superheroes of the NFL. And in this year's draft, there are 5 first-round QB prospects. Do they have the supernatural powers needed to lead their future teams to glory? Or could their personal kryptonite prove to be an overwhelming obstacle? Yahoo Sports NFL Draft Mastermind Eric Edholm reveals their capabilities.
Trevor Lawrence's superpower, that would be his arm strength. He shoots lasers all over the field. Watch how he throws the ball outside the numbers on a rope, and how he often just lets it rip as his receivers are turning around for the ball. Many NFL quarterbacks cannot do this. Lawrence can. And just because he didn't throw deep a lot doesn't mean he lacks arm talent. His kryptonite, however, touch and placement. We mentioned the downfield element. Lawrence often can be seen underthrowing his targets, and just because those guys are making the catch doesn't make them perfect throws. On the shorter stuff, Lawrence tends to misfire on the high side. Now that's something he'll need to clean up, but don't get me wrong, Lawrence has more than enough juice to save the day. Zach Wilson's superpower, it's his improvisational skills. When things break down, that's what Wilson really puts on his cape. Watch any of the number freewheeling plays from 2020, escaping from sacks, scrambling, slinging the ball all over the field, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. In fact, we think some of his best throws last year came on passes that weren't even complete. His receiver didn't even make the catch. His kryptonite, however, is overconfidence. 5 times with his legs, and sometimes it's his own worst enemy. He'll run himself into sacks and tends to make things a little bit harder than need to be. Overconfidence aside, Wilson is bound to make play after play and leave his opponents shaking their heads in disbelief. Trey Lance's superpower is his athletic skill. It's that combination of throwing from the pocket, throwing on the move, and that running ability. Those are just qualities you cannot teach in a prospect. And it's what allowed him to throw for 28 touchdowns, run for 14 more, and have 0 interceptions in the 2019 season. Now his kryptonite, it's his inexperience. He's only had 17 starts at the FCS level and only 1 in the past year plus. The good news is that Lance has a great mind for the position, plenty of time to improve, but he is only 20 years old and may not be ready to be a day 1 starter. In spite of that, Lance's dynamic skills will have NFL defenses reaching for their shields. Justin Fields has a superpower, and it is his physical ability. Now, he may not be 6'5" like your classic dropback passer, but his physical traits are pretty off the charts. It's that combination of running ability, escapability, and arm talent that truly make him a superhuman prospect. He's just as capable of making a 50-yard pass as he is ripping off a 50-yard run. His kryptonite, however, is his decision-making, at least right now. Struggled to make the proper reads at times, and there are just some curious decisions on tape in 2020. 3 picks against Indiana, 2 more against Northwestern, and a lot of young quarterbacks have struggled with this coming out, and he has time to fix it, but NFL teams should be lining up to have Fields lead them into battle. Mack Jones' superpower is his mental makeup. He was perhaps the best quarterback in college football last year when facing the blitz. He has the brain power to feel pressure naturally, read fronts, coverages, and pressures equally well, and he typically knows exactly where to go with the ball, which is a huge part of quarterbacking. His kryptonite, it's his athleticism. Even though Jones tested far better than expected at his pro day, and even though his downfield touch is pretty impressive, he also doesn't have a howitzer for an arm. Still, Jones knows what to do, and knowing is half the battle.